This is Pete Moore on Halo Talks NYC. I have the pleasure of bringing two of my new close friends from Vancouver, Canada, to the podcast. It is only appropriate if we start off this segment with a abridged version of Oh Canada. So, gentlemen, Trevor and Carl, welcome to the show. Oh Canada, our home and native land. True patriot love in all thy sons command. Last verse. With glowing hearts we see the rise, the true north
strong and free.
And free.
Hey!
From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Good to see you guys. Welcome to the show. Only
Let's get one thing straight here. You are a Rangers fan. Okay.
Yeah, that is.
We are good friends, but we've had to work past that fact.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have worked through that. Well, for those of you who don't know Trevor Linden, welcome to the show. Trevor is an all-star hockey player from Medicine Hat, but also lived in Manhasset, Long Island. So probably the only person from Medicine Hat to also reside in Manhasset. And I'd like to say is the equivalent of booking the mayor, the Pope, and a first-line center as one guest. So thank you for joining and your attendance here. And Carl is also an esteemed athlete from St. Francis on the basketball court, sans the skates. And Integrity Square and Club 16 have had a relationship here in looking at the growth opportunities in the industry and talking shop and M&A and bringing on partners. So wanted to showcase what they're doing up in British Columbia for our network here. So, Carl, why don't we kick off from your standpoint? And this has kind of been a family homegrown business for quite some time. So, take us back to the roots, and then we'll basically pause and bring Trevor in once he joined the team here.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Yeah. Well, thanks for having us. My stepdad, Chuck Lawson, he passed away about a year and a half ago. But in 1990, prior to 1990, he owned a Gold's Gym in British Columbia. So he owned and operated a Gold's Gym, and he went to a fitness conference out in Chicago, and he heard about this crazy new concept of women's only facilities. And so he came back, he sold his Gold's Gym, and he opened up his first Just Ladies Fitness, big box, $50 to $60 a month, membership, group fitness, kids club. And that was our Abbotsford Just Ladies Fitness location. And I remember he told me at that time he made more money with that one location than he did with 7-8 locations. It was just such a booming opportunity back then, and he took full advantage of it. And he moved that brand to 11 locations across British Columbia, did quite well. One of the things that he started to notice with that model in general, that mid-priced model with group fitness and kids club, was that his expenses were continuing to rise, but his revenue wasn't rising along with it. And so one thing I'll say about Chuck Lawson is that he was forever changing. He always adapted. He always was comfortable taking the big shot, the big leap, the big rifle shot. And so at that time, a well-known brand came out with this crazy new model, which was a value-priced brand. And he took a look at that and said, you know what, I think that would work in the women's only space as well. So he went through the next 4 years transitioning our Just Ladies Fitness brand into She's Fit, which is a value-priced model. When we transitioned our first She's Fit, which was our Fleetwood, Surrey location, from Just Ladies Fitness to She's Fit. So we basically dropped the pricing from $50 to $60 a month to $14.99 a month. Everyone thought we were crazy. This isn't going to work. We got rid of our group fitness studio. We got rid of our child minding. So we optimized the space for what we felt the majority of our women-only members were looking for, which was strength equipment, cardio equipment. And we ended up out of a base of 5,000 members, we only ended up losing 14 original members in that transition. And then we added on about 2,500. And so from there, we were off to the races. And as we transitioned the brand from Just Ladies to She's Fit, that was replicated over and over and over again. Chuck originally being from a Gold's Gym, being a Gold's Gym operator, he wasn't nervous or scared to get into the co-ed space, and he started doing some modeling out of the same concepts, but a co-ed space, looking to optimize and increase EBITDA in our organization. And he came up with a concept, and he had a friend that was friends with legendary Trevor Linden, the Vancouver Captain Canuck, and so he was introduced to Trevor, and I'll let Trevor share that story. He's great at sharing that.
Yeah, great, thank you.
Yeah, awesome, Carl. Love hearing that story. I learned a couple things myself, but so I retired from professional hockey in 2008 after a 20-year hockey career. We lost to the New York Rangers in 1994 in 7 games. Heartbreaking loss. Our hearts still hurt over that. But such is life in professional sports. So I retired in 2008 and was kind of like figuring out where I go, what I do. I did not want to be in hockey, and I, at that time, I was just trying to figure out my life, what it looks like. I was 39 years old, and I took a lot of meetings from anybody who wanted to talk to me. And they pitched everything from bowling alleys to restaurants to bars. And I very politely listened to them for half an hour, 45 minutes, and kind of sent a thanks but no thanks email. Good luck in your. And so June 9th, 2010, Chuck Lawson walked into my office, which I thought was going to be a 30-minute meeting, and then a thanks but no thanks. We sat and talked for 2 hours. And 2 things that struck me about that meeting and that conversation was, number one, I liked the concept Chuck was talking about. And the other thing is I really liked Chuck. I could tell that he was an operator. He understood how to operate a business. He understood the mechanics of fitness, which I didn't. And, Carl, we met shortly after that and kind of talked about what a partnership would look like. We made sure that we were aligned on values and how this was going to look. And 9 months later, we opened our first club in Coquitlam, BC. And Carl was our first manager there. And that club rocked, and we just kept building from there. And it's been an awesome journey. We're 17 clubs across the Lower Mainland now. And that's how it all began.
So a couple of questions. One, welcome to the health club and Halo fitness industry. Like we say, once you get in, you never get out. So, welcome aboard. Thanks for joining us. When you play professional sports or you play any sports, the benefit of that sport is that the clock runs out and the game is over, and the season ends, and you can reboot on another season. Whereas, when people come from professional sports and go into business, the one thing I try to harp on them is that, like, when you become an entrepreneur, there is no clock. And it basically, you run this out until you run it out. And that is on a daily, monthly, and annual basis. So how is your kind of brain changed and calibrated? Like, hey, what do we got to do to make the playoffs versus what do we got to do to kind of keep re-engineering this business for success?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, Pete. I played hockey for 20 seasons, and training camp started early September, and you got ready for training camp, and then the clock started. Carl and I think both, we get along so well together. He was a high-level basketball player, so we get that. Certainly different in this world. I think, as Carl would say, the brain never shuts off. You're always thinking about ways to get better. The game, the season is forever on. We're doing a real big club upgrade at our Newton club here. I walked into this club at 4:45 this morning because I couldn't sleep because I was thinking about things, and we're just finishing off today. But I know Carl, doesn't sleep a lot because he's grinding on stuff. So absolutely, you realize the world of a professional athlete or an athlete is very segmented. And this is a never-ending journey where you're just constantly battling and trying to get better.
From a standpoint of, managing the business and also knowing that, hey, I've got to make short-term investments, long-term investments, and kind of manage through that. What are some of the things that maybe Chuck kind of instilled with you, or maybe Trevor's kind of, come with a different viewpoint that, we got to do something now and not wait till later, like you would on a basketball, quarter.
One thing that Chuck always shared with me that I've learned, and it's really stuck with me, and I share this with our group, is there's no pride in business. And so don't let your own pride get in the way of the decisions you're making, or if something's gone wrong, moving the dial a little bit to make sure that it works is important. And so that's really been our strategy. Chuck really stuck with the strategy around, what do the majority of people are looking for in our facilities? And that's a model that we stuck with. And, during COVID, I think a lot of gym owners were on pause, right? Just trying to make it through COVID. And, our group did a wonderful job through COVID. We were connected directly with Dr. Henry, our health minister, and we were able to keep gyms open in British Columbia longer than any other province. We're proud of that. But we did have a pause during that time. And one thing that Trevor has really brought to our group, which is really energizing, is this sort of his mandate, which has been really helpful, moving from defense to offense. We're no longer in defense anymore, and we can't sit in defense any longer, and we haven't been over the last year and a bit. We've really been, with Trevor's been out in the clubs refreshing our facilities. We've transitioned from a value price sort of footprint for equipment to more high functional strength equipment, more floor space, green turf. Our clubs are beautiful, so we've gone on the offensive there. And then opening up new facilities, we've got 4 LOIs on right now, and we're looking to grow. And so Trevor's really helped with that, re-energizing us and looking at the future and that growth.
Yeah, so Trevor and I had the opportunity to walk through Vancouver in certain times where I used to have to take
Took
photos.
You for a great lunch, Pete.
On his behalf. Yeah, we got a great Mexican concept if anyone wants to.
Yeah, we are
to
exactly.
get involved in a Vancouver homegrown Mexican concept. I'm not sure if that fits together in one sentence. That's going to get a lot of investor intros, but who knows? We might do it ourselves. Hey, Trevor, one thing that I wanted to take a minute to discuss is when you were in that meeting with Chuck and you spent 2 hours with him, saying, okay, Trevor Linden, I've protected my personality. I've protected my brand. I've protected my, name, image, likeness, which NIL wasn't a thing, as an acronym back in the day. But, looking back on that decision to say, look, I'm in a membership-based business. I know people cancel. I know some people get disgruntled, hitting their credit card every month. And now, my name's on the door. And my name also might be in the white pages, or people might be able to get a hold of me. So, what were some of the considerations you made, and things that you like about it, or maybe things that another entrepreneur might want to know before they put their name on the door?
For sure, Pete. I had a 20-year career. 16 of them were in Vancouver, so this was really my home. I built my brand here in Vancouver. It was extremely important to me, and my reputation in this city and this province was extremely important to me. One of the reasons why I said no to a lot of things, because I just wasn't comfortable with it. And so one of the things that I identified with Chuck was this: I liked the space. Fitness and activity had always been such a big part of my life because I was a professional athlete. What I also realized is that it wasn't just about the physicality of it, it's about the mental health. I realized halfway through my career that I wasn't training in the summer because I had to. I trained because I wanted to, and I knew that I felt better. That was becoming part of my lifestyle. So when we talked about fitness and value-priced fitness and bringing fitness to the people that maybe aren't gym people, making a comfortable space where people, whether they're 25 or 85, can go in and train. It's even more relative now because we're seeing older people wanting to get fit, wanting to stay strong, wanting to keep their independence, wanting to work on their balance. My parents are 83 and 82. They're working out 3 times a week. Yeah. So we're seeing that in our facilities. And for me, and after I spent time with Chuck, that was part of our courting, I guess you'd say, is that I wanted to know that Chuck and I shared the same values, that we were aligned on our expectations. So the concept aligned with, it was important to me. It authentically meant something to me that we could develop this and we could help people get fit, get heart healthy, wherever their fitness journey was, we could support that. And I think, Carl, when we opened Coquitlam, one of the best things I saw was that we had a group of, I think they're 75 years old. They go for coffee at Tim Hortons and then they come in for a workout. And it was exactly what we wanted to see is bringing fitness to making it accessible for people. And so, but yeah, and one of the things I said to Chuck, I said, listen, I don't want to just give you my name for a royalty. If I'm in, I'm in. I want to be partners. I want to be equal partners. I want to work on this together. I want to be involved. And Chuck was awesome with that. Like, as we not only were business partners, but we became good friends, and we both were sports fans and had a lot to talk about. And we had a lot of fun on the way. And I miss Chuck dearly. So kind of carrying on his legacy, but no doubt about it, Pete, I was really, really sensitive to my brand, my likeness, my name, and making sure that the values of this company upheld that. And, never perfect, but, I'm really proud of the work that our teams do in the club and what we've done and what we've established here in BC.
Yeah, I would say, as a tip to my hat to you guys, that there really aren't that many other happy stories related to people using their brand and their name in the health club industry. I mean, there were some clubs in New York that were, Derek Jeter, affiliated clubs. There was Magic Johnson partnered up with 24 Hour back in the day. Like all those things are basically non-existent anymore. So, congrats to you guys for making it work.
If I could make a clear distinction there, my belief is I think sometimes people get in business with a name and don't completely understand it's the people that work within the organization, not the name that makes them great, right? And so I think people can lean on that name too much, and that's to Trevor's point. That was his key, and he wanted a culture within our organization that aligned with him, and we wanted the same, and we've really worked hard towards that. So leaning on a name is not going to make you a great company. It's not going to bring your EBITDA up. It's the people that do that.
Yeah, sure,
100%. And I think that we've, in the last 3 years, especially the work we've done with Tom Johnston and the work that our team, our executive team has done, and even myself, I've become more involved in the business. And so, the people, that receptionist at 6 a.m. in the club, she's an extension of me, and so she's, and I think that we're creating that feeling within our company that, I'm working side by side with our Newton team right now. We're schlepping weight around, moving around, and so they know that I care. And I think that in turn, they know how much our executive team cares, and so we've done a good job working with Tom and our team.
Yeah. So Trevor, you've kind of pivoted into this chief development officer. What are some of the things that you're excited about when you're not sleeping and you're on your way to the club?
Meaning in the business?
In the business side. Like you seem to have a good lens on where you want to take it, from you guys focus on British Columbia, looking at new locations, like repurposing. Talk about some of the repurposing of the club space internally.
Yeah, I think, and Carl, we've been just, it feels like we've just been so much going on here in the last 18 months, and it's been awesome. But, one of the initiatives I looked at when, about 16 months ago was just our facilities. And through the course of our first club in Coquitlam, like some of our clubs are 12, 14 years old, and they started out as, because let's be honest, the fitness landscape has changed. Every one of our facilities has a She's Fit, a ladies only, and they're awesome spaces. But people are doing less cardio now. They want more functional training. They want more room to move. They want more strength. Even our women members in our She's Fit, they want platforms. They want hack squat. They want leg press. They want functional stuff. They want the same equipment. And so that is something that we've looked at upgrading all our facilities to bring them up to another level. So that's the one thing. And the other thing is that, we're really excited about continuing to develop our ladies only brand, She's Fit. They're great performers within our company. We're seeing a real push that women want private spaces for women. And so like Carl said, we're looking forward to going on the offense a little bit. And we're looking at new locations, whether they be Club 16 and a She's Fit, or even we're excited about the opportunity of building a standalone She's Fit, which, Carl, we haven't done in 20 plus years or longer. So, and really taking that brand to the next elevated place.
Yeah, Carl. So you've been, at this. It's almost kind of like come full circle. at this point. There's been a lot of chatter and a lot of articles written about women's fitness, and their safe place for the third place. There's also been a lot more strength training that's happening, as Trevor indicated, and it looks like all your She's Fit are basically like at capacity, almost like over capacity from the amount of people in there. Do you think there's some underlying trend, or the diversity of ethnicities in Vancouver kind of leans into that even more? Or what do you what are some of like reading the tea leaves and what's really going on?
Well, I think you nailed it. The diversity of our cities out here in British Columbia really support that brand. I mean, quite honestly, looking at the EBITDA per square foot in our facilities, the growth in a She's Fit is a no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer, and right now is the exact time to be doing that. And our country continues to diversify, if you will. I mean, major cities across Canada. You look at Calgary and Winnipeg and basically all of British Columbia support this women's only space. Particular ethnicities are looking for that space to be able to come in and work out amongst other women, and so that, coupled with the huge drive in the women's side for women to be active, and not just be active, but use strength equipment, use floor space. I'll circle back quickly to Trevor because he doesn't give himself enough credit. I talked to a lot of people, a lot of operators and owners in our industry, and he's up there with the top ones in the amount of time and effort and just digging into what people want now in terms of equipment and space. He's brilliant when it comes to optimizing space, and so he's really been a help there. But back to the women's only space, like just based on the numbers, it's a no-brainer. I mean, we're super excited. We're going to be opening up our next She's Fit location the next year and a half, and just like you said, just based on the articles we're reading, based on our own numbers, it's a no-brainer. Women's space is back, and it's going to explode for sure.
So when you take a look at your portfolio right now, you got 14 Club 16s and you got 3 She's Fit. So if you had a crystal ball of what does this company look like in 3 to 5 years from now, what do you think those numbers are from a unit under each brand kind of?
Yeah, we're gonna open up. We're gonna work towards opening up 3 She's Fit and 2 Club 16s a year, starting in 27. So by 2030, we're looking at about 41 locations company wide, a mix of both She's Fit and Club 16.
Yeah, and Trevor, you're obviously British Columbia, and following the Canucks is kind of go hand in hand. If you go into Calgary, you go into Alberta. What would be the strategic play there?
Yeah, for our American friends and New Yorkers, it'd be like the rivalry between Calgary and Vancouver is kind of like the Red Sox and Yankees. They don't like each other. So
there won't be an Aaron Judge Fitness in downtown.
So even though I'm an Alberta boy, I'm from Alberta, Medicine Hat, Alberta. I was a Vancouver Canuck. So I think that's the one thing. When we think about our growth and, the She's Fit brand, we have actually 17 She's Fit because 14 of them are within our club and we have 3 standalones. So, that model, I think, really can work. I'm not sure Trevor Linden Fitness works in Alberta, but I do think the She's Fit brand works in Alberta.
Gotcha.
Here's what I'll say, Pete, as well. Sorry to interrupt you guys, but what I'm super excited, I'm so excited about is, women's fitness is blowing up, and in this moment we have a proven model right now. We have 3 standalone She's Fits that do extremely well, and replicating that isn't going to be challenging for us. We're not coming up with a new concept and having to prove out the model. We have a model that works today. All we need is a space, and Bob's your uncle. Right. And so that's what we're super excited about. We're not reinventing the wheel here. We have the wheel and we just need to keep pushing that wheel forward. And so that's super exciting. We feel like we're in a real strong position with the She's Fit brand for sure.
Yeah. And then, as you take a look at the landscape over the past, 18 months, there's more and more private equity backed players that you're going to compete with or are competing with. At the same time, there's something to be said about, hey, I've got an independently operated homegrown business. We make our own decisions. We have access to capital. It might not be the same institutional capital without, personal guarantees or, maybe has somebody who wants to try and build the business, and then with the side of exiting, where you guys have the ability to basically say, hey, we're going to build the best business we can and don't have any constraints related to some kind of internal rate of return or limited partners. You did do a deal years ago with founders equity. Maybe you could talk about maintaining your independence and your ability to grow with the potential to say, hey, look, if we want to pour rocket fuel on top of this business, under our own terms, we might put up more locations.
Yeah, I mean, our relationship with founders was real strong, and I guess I say that because, partnering with an equity firm that was in the stock market really put us, really forced our hand and stepped up the urgency to have books that align with the stock market. So we have real tight books because of that relationship. And so, our forecasting is strong, our financials are strong. And so there's never really any questions there. So that was a benefit of working with them, as well as just like in the name Founders Advantage, they really they leaned into the expertise of the founders of the organizations that they partnered with. And that was no exception to us. And with them, we did grow the business in a strong way. COVID hit, and we were able to take that opportunity to purchase our shares back, and that's been the best decision our organization has ever made. So we don't shy away from that, but certainly we have the capital available to us to grow ourselves for sure, and that's what we're going to do unless another opportunity comes our way that we see as a viable option. But we're really, if we were to partner, we definitely would want that founders sort of feel, leaning on our expertise, because again, we have a proven model, we have a proven cheese fit standalone model, and we're ready to grow, and we really don't want to be held back from that growth. We just want to grow.
I think exactly, Pete. I think that we have the ability to do this ourselves. We've got zero debt on our company right now. We've got access to capital. We can self-fund ourselves. So we've got that ability at least. So we don't have to do anything. And there's certainly advantages to having a partner, but this is the one thing I do know is that and I will say this, and this is a big tip to Carl and Rada, our COO, and Lucy, our CFO, been with our company for 20 plus years, everyone. And the way Chuck operated, very well-run operation, tight, organized. I think we've actually gotten better over the last 3 to 5 years. So we're poised to do this how we want to. And I think that's an advantage.
When you take a look at, let's use the sports analogies here, but sometimes groups might take on a new investor and they might go and spend a lot of money, bringing in free agents and maybe grow out of actually like the team that they needed to be successful. Or, you see a private equity deal, let's say like an F45 or something that just like grew for the sake of growing their revenue. And now, it's basically a penny stock. Or you see some companies that, at one point you thought like, oh man, I'm just kind of a little bit scared of what these guys could do. And then they just don't execute. So how comfortable are you with, being on the offense, but not like pulling your goalie at the same time?
Yeah. Well, I'll use another sports analogy back to you is our bench is strong and our bench is deep. We spent the last 2 years working with Tom Johnson with Talent Optimizer Group, and our culture is strong. We do employee engagement surveys every quarter or so, and we respond to those surveys in a town hall, and we let our teams know what goals, what rocks we have ahead of us that are going to help support some of their needs and their wants, and we execute on those things. And through that process, that forever process of hearing our teams, responding, we've really increased our level of engagement across our organization. And through that, we've been able to keep people. Our senior leadership team is a bench of 16 people. And I think the shortest tenure we have on that bench right now is 6 or 7 years, with some people being over 20. We have a general manager in every facility. We have a fitness manager in every facility, and our assistant fitness managers and assistant fitness managers, in terms of that bench strength, is strong. So we've really been building up for this moment, because obviously internal promotions are going to be an advantage to us as we continue to grow. And we do want to keep that Club 16 She's Fit culture. In order to do that, we need a deep bench. And so we have a heavy bench right now. We're ready to grow. So we're pretty confident when it comes to that.
That's great. Hey, Trevor, back to you on, you referenced the She's Fit and like the next generation of what that is. We invested probably, back in 2016, probably about 8-9 years ago, we invested in a workout recovery business that was red light therapy and infrared saunas, electromagnetic field mats, and I had to explain what each one of those technologies are. Now that they're kind of mainstream. So, given your sports background, and also, I know your son's, in Little League, and Carl, your son's in playing travel basketball. What are some of the things that you guys are seeing that's like, hey, I'm actually going to stock these clubs with a lot more workout recovery because I already see firsthand what it does for you. And then what it's, these kids are actually now using it. And now you can basically take that to the masses and probably, increase the membership amenity set and price of what a membership's worth. So there is a question there somewhere. I'm not sure what it is, but please answer.
No, I think exactly. I think what you're seeing is especially in the women's space, wellness, health, recovery are all things, and I think ultimately a safe, comfortable space. So I think there's a lot of, that wellness space, recovery space. There are, just down at the HFA show, just, pulling in a bunch of ideas and, just curating those spaces so they're meaningful, they're comfortable, they're accessible. That in itself is a whole nother area where we can, I think, develop and create this environment for our members. And so for me, that's exciting. I think that, in our current facilities, we built these facilities without those spaces. So then we went through this transition of putting those facilities in. But, to be able to do it from the ground floor is special. Our latest club, I guess, would be Langley, and in Chilliwack, we kind of had a better feel for that. So those spaces are a little bit more curated. So yeah, that's definitely exciting for us, for sure.
Yeah, the red light, the infrared, the hydro massage, the tanning that we offer in our facilities has been really meaningful for us to be able to have a 2-tiered membership. And when our guests come into our facilities, we're able to qualify what their needs and interests are and align them with the right membership. And 40% of the time, 50% of the time, they're going for that what we call VIP membership, which includes that wellness space. That's a big factor for us serving our community and helping them be healthier and also serving our business.
Gotcha. And then last question here is, you guys kind of operate in this, let's say a high volume, high amenity, high value, I wouldn't say low price. I would say, kind of, in the middle market, which is 80% of the market. What's kind of like the give and take between, hey, I'm going to offer you all these new amenities. I'm not necessarily looking to raise the price. I know you're going to like $16 bi-weekly, for the basic membership for the anniversary. So kind of where do you see as like when people think of She's Fit, people think of Club 16, it's like an elevated experience, but you're not paying, through the nose to actually we're not trying to target the top 10%. We actually want the majority of the population here.
Yeah, and Pete, I would say, and Carl and I, we talked about this. We talk about all this. I would say our members, and I'm in the clubs a lot. I talk to our members. I love getting their feedback on how we can better, what we can do. But, I do hear, I do feel like our members feel we are a tremendous value right now. We may not be the lowest price out there, but I think they feel like they are getting a great value. And so that's, quantifying exactly what the price is, I think is kind of like, well, we're not the lowest, but I think our members would say they feel great about the value they are getting.
Yeah, and I hate to sound like every statement I've made, I sound like I'm gloating about how great we are. Again, this is about our people, but we use real time as a software that provides us constant feedback from our members and generates AI reports, so we know exactly where we stand in terms of how our members are feeling, and we can relate that value very easily through those reports. And on the other end, Trevor leads our maintenance team. Our maintenance team does tremendous work. Daryl runs that maintenance team, and we keep a scorecard on a daily basis. We report on that scorecard, and we're really proud of where what we call our ticket numbers are at, below 200 company-wide at 17 locations, and so we're able to track that. So, we talk about our uniques all the time. Trevor Linden and that what comes with that culture, the she's fit, and then also that we care. We believe we have the cleanest facilities and the most well-maintained facilities in British Columbia. We truly believe that. Again, it sounds like I'm gloating. That's not coming from us. It's coming from our people. But we do track stats. We have KPIs on all of those things, and we keep our eyes on them. And if we have to break the glass, sound the alarm, and take a look at something and change something so it gets better, we do. But yeah, we take a lot of pride in that. And I agree with Trevor. The value is definitely there, and that's what we hear from our members.
Yeah, so I guess the last question here is, Trevor, how does winning in business compare to winning in sports?
Yeah, Pete, it's interesting. I have to say, Carl and I talk 5 times a day, it feels like, but there's a lot of similarities. I got to say, when Chuck passed away, 18 months ago, that kind of pushed myself really, I was involved before, but now I'm day to day, and I have enjoyed every second of it. I've enjoyed the business. I've enjoyed working with the team. The wins are awesome, and it's like being on winning a game or having a good game or scoring a goal. I mean, the losses hurt, but that's what's great about. That's what life's about, and I lived that world for 20 years in the hockey world, and nothing gets me more stoked than a good text from Carl or a positive, what we're doing. And then on the flip side of that, I feel the pain on the other side. So the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat is always there. And whether you're in business or sport, I think it's important and it's meaningful.
Awesome. Well, congrats on what you guys have built. It's noticeable, Carl, from a standpoint of, that you people do care. The places are immaculate that I've gone through. And, we're excited that you guys are a bellwether in the Halo sector as how to run and operate a strong business. So thanks for your efforts, and look forward to seeing you guys soon.
Awesome. Good chat, Pete.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Thanks.
This is Pete Moore on Halo Talks, your captain speaking. I am the founder and managing partner at Integrity Square. We've been around now for 15.5 years. We have been helping people like yourselves get capital, do mergers and acquisitions, consulting, strategic advice in the health, active lifestyle, and outdoor Halo sector, trying to help as many entrepreneurs as possible get to the next level and take that inflection point and be the force behind your growth. We are helping companies that have at least $3 million of EBITDA, around $10 million of revenue. And we are positioned to help you get institutional growth capital or to negotiate deals with strategic partners. If you go to integritysq.com/ISQ, you can see our capabilities deck. Happy to set up a consultation at any time. That is free of charge. And we look forward to helping solve obesity, loneliness, and diabetes. Go Halo.